Léon, a hardened hitman, dwells in the shadows of New York, where he has carved out his solitary existence for at least a decade. His life is a ritual of icy precision. Every movement in his work is calculated, every detail meticulously planned, as if the world were a chessboard and he, an unrelenting master. There is no room for emotions in his weathered soul. His coldness is as sharp as a knife's edge. His contracts come exclusively from Tony, a mafioso with a gravelly voice and cunning gaze, owner of the Supreme Macaroni restaurant, a place that smells of tomato sauce and secrets. Léon lives in the same forgotten corner of Little Italy, in a building that seems to exhale exhaustion, with cracked walls and a long hallway that creaks under his steps. His apartment, austere and unadorned, is a reflection of his life, functional, devoid of human warmth. In his free time, Léon sculpts his body with intense physical exercises, as if determined to keep any hint of weakness at bay. His only companion is an indoor plant, an aglaonema he tends to with an almost incongruous tenderness, watering it devotedly under the dim light of a window. When he's not training or working, he takes refuge in a neighborhood cinema, losing himself in Gene Kelly's musicals, where songs and dances offer a fleeting escape from his monochrome reality. Beyond Tony, there is no one else in his world. Human connections are a luxury he doesn't allow himself. One day, as he returns to his apartment after completing a job, his steps lead him to cross paths with a fragile figure on the shared landing. It's Mathilda Lando, a teenager with restless eyes and nicotine-stained fingers, smoking a cigarette with a defiance that feels more like a cry for help than a choice. She's sitting on the floor, knees hugged close, as if trying to make herself smaller. Léon, with his stern expression, reproaches her habit with a voice laced with disapproval but also curiosity. He notices she shouldn't be there, not at that hour, not on a weekday. She should be at school, surrounded by books and laughter, not in a dreary hallway with the weight of the world on her shoulders. With the keen insight only the lonely possess, he senses that Mathilda is trapped in a broken family, a home where affection is a scarce commodity. She lives with her father, a man of volatile temperament, her stepmother, a distant figure, her stepsister, a stranger in her own world, and her 4-year-old little brother, the only spark of light in her life, the only one who truly seems to matter to her. Days later, fate weaves a darker encounter. Mathilda appears with a nosebleed, her face etched with a pain that transcends the physical. Her eyes, heavy with questions and wounds, seek Léon's. With a mix of innocence and desperation, she asks if life is always so harsh, if suffering is just a child's burden or a lifelong companion. Léon, burdened by the weight of his own existence, responds with a bitterness that cuts like a winter wind. It's like that all the time. His words, though cruel in their honesty, echo the truth they both share in that moment. Meanwhile, tragedy looms over Mathilda's home. Her father, through a mix of recklessness and greed, has provoked the wrath of a group of corrupt DEA agents. His role as a mule involves storing packages of cocaine in his apartment, a dangerous task that led him to make a fatal mistake, stealing a portion of the drugs for himself. The agents, with their twisted morals and hands stained by power, soon discover the theft, and the storm brewing promises to be merciless. In the heart of this chaos, Mathilda and Léon, two lost souls in an unforgiving world, begin to intertwine their fates, still unaware of the magnitude of what lies ahead. As Mathilda shops at the grocery store, the corrupt agents ascend to her building to reclaim their merchandise. Their leader, Norman Stansfield, is a violent, unscrupulous sociopath, sometimes plagued by visual and auditory hallucinations. This man is so unstable that even the corrupt cops in his group fear him, especially his mood swings and bouts of madness. He swallows a capsule of drugs before entering the apartment with a shotgun. The 4 members of Mathilda's family are in the apartment at the time. Stansfield enters first. He begins his rampage with 2 cold-blooded murders of unarmed people, shooting the stepmother, who was in her bathroom, and then the stepsister, who was trying to escape and is hit in the back. The father, who had hidden a firearm in the living room, reacts by killing one of the corrupt cops. A third agent responds by firing a burst of machine gun rounds in all directions, lightly wounding the father but unintentionally killing the little brother, who was emerging from his hiding spot under the bed to flee. The father, the only survivor, crawls to escape but is shot multiple times by Stansfield, who finishes him off while berating him for damaging his suit. When Mathilda arrives with her grocery bags in hand, just after the massacre, she overhears one of the thugs complaining that the young boy was taken out. Feigning indifference, she walks past the apartment and heads to Léon's door further down the hallway. Utterly shaken, trembling and sobbing, Mathilda frantically knocks on the door, desperately hoping Léon will grant her sanctuary. Léon, who heard the gunshots, watches the unfolding operation through his peephole, gun in hand, ready to intervene if necessary. After hesitating for a long time, he finally opens the door just as the agent guarding the hallway begins to grow suspicious of the girl. The orphan quickly discovers that Léon is a hitman. She pleads with him to take her in and teach her his skills as a cleaner. She wants to avenge the death of her 4-year-old brother, the only family member she truly loved. In return, she offers to be his housekeeper and tutor to address Léon's illiteracy. Initially very reluctant, even tempted on the first night to kill her to end her suffering and avoid jeopardizing his own situation, Léon agrees, and they begin working together. Léon insists on teaching her a moral code, a strict guideline for his line of work: no women, no kids. Never aim at or kill women or children. Mathilda fully agrees with this principle. Léon takes care of the young girl, explaining and demonstrating various techniques of stealth, firearm use, clothing, hiding spots, and environmental analysis. He also teaches her discreet ways to make contact using codes, like knocking on the door with a fist to identify themselves and confirm everything is all right. They frequently change residences and use aliases to avoid detection. Over time, they grow to know and care for each other. As they become closer, the young orphan confesses to Léon that she is in love with him, but he, deeply unsettled, refuses to respond. The teenager gains experience and self-confidence. One day, she manages to track down Stansfield and follows him to the DEA building to try to kill him, but he catches her off guard in the restrooms. Stansfield hands her over to 2 of his colleagues while he heads to a crime scene where Léon, during a contract, has killed his right-hand man. Léon, upon returning from his job and discovering Mathilda's intentions through a note she left, rushes to the building and rescues her. In the process, he kills 2 of the men involved, including the one who murdered Mathilda's brother. Stansfield is furious because an Italian hitman has executed his men at the DEA facility, and his right-hand man elsewhere in the city. He confronts Tony, Léon's boss, who knows his business, as Stansfield has previously hired him to eliminate competitors. Suspecting the lone assassin might be someone from his circle, he bursts into Tony's restaurant while Tony oversees a young family member's birthday party. Through intimidation and physical force, he tries to coerce Tony into revealing his target's whereabouts. Later, Mathilda returns from the neighborhood grocery store. A SWAT unit, sent by Stansfield, takes her hostage to gain direct access to Léon's apartment. The police order Mathilda to reveal the agreed-upon code. When one of the agents knocks on the door, he's unaware that the sequence he uses differs from the pre-arranged code, effectively alerting Léon. Wasting no time, Léon sets up an ambush against the intervention team and takes one of its members hostage to exchange for Mathilda. As they retreat into the apartment, Léon allows the young girl to escape through a ventilation duct leading to the basement, too narrow for him to follow. Just before the assault begins, to convince her to leave alone, he reassures her, saying he loves her, doesn't want to die, and will soon join her. In the chaos of the confined space intervention, the apartment is reduced to rubble and dust, so much so that Léon, wearing a police gas mask, is mistaken by the elite unit for one of their own. Shot in the shoulder, he lies wounded on the floor of his ruined apartment. He's taken directly to the ground floor for basic medical attention. But Stansfield, also on the ground floor, recognizes him when his mask is removed. He orders a hallway leading outside cleared. Silently, he hides in a room and follows Léon, shooting him in the back, cowardly, when no one else is around to witness it. Kneeling over his victim, he mocks him with a scornful tone. Gravely injured, barely able to speak, Léon places an object in Stansfield's hands, saying it's from Mathilda. As Stansfield opens his fingers, he recognizes a grenade pin and pulls back Léon's jacket to reveal multiple explosives strapped to his chest. He lets out a brief shit, just before a massive explosion obliterates the place. Mathilda goes to Tony's restaurant, as Léon had instructed her to do if anything happened to him. Tony, his face bearing visible marks of violence, gives her a small sum of money, explaining she's too young to receive all that Léon had saved. He tells her school must be her priority. When Mathilda asks for a job, insisting she can clean like Léon, Tony grows angry and sternly tells her he has no suitable work for a 12-year-old girl. With nowhere else to go, she returns to her old school. She's forced to explain everything to the headmistress, who makes it clear she expects the truth. Finally, Mathilda goes to the park in front of the school with Léon's plant. She digs a hole to plant the aglaonema so it can have real roots, as she once remarked to her departed friend.